You guys, look what my husband did. Okay, my husband is a Scotch drinker. Okay, he likes Scotch. I can't even smell it. It's so gross, but he loves it. He likes to just sit and sip on it. So he got this Scotch bottle, and he actually really liked the Scotch, but he basically got it kind of for me. And he ended up cutting off the wrapper of it because look, you guys, it's a Song of Ice and Fire. And it's got the dragon. And this is from Johnny Walker, a Song of Ice and Fire limited series, Game of Thrones blend. Isn't that cool? But he literally like cut this off the bottle for me so I could keep it because he knows me. It's sitting on top of my bookshelf right now, but I'm going to have to put that in a scrapbook or something, like, so it doesn't get messed up in our move. Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today we're going to talk about some TV shows that I have binged lately. And I got a lot to talk about because we've been home to binge the shows. So basically, when this whole COVID quarantine type thing started, I thought, I'm going to watch some of these dang TV shows that I have been dragging my feet on and not making time for. I'm going to finally just like work my way through some of these shows. And I have. When this whole thing started and then we found out school was canceled and everything, I was like, okay, we're going to be home. I made a list of some shows. Like I did some stamping and like brought out my scrapbook stuff. So I made a list of some shows, both from my DVR and from Netflix, that I thought, okay, what can I kind of binge and finish? That was kind of one of my priorities. Like, what is a show that is finished that I can finish it? And then it's completely done. No more seasons. It's either canceled or it has an ending or whatever. So I have a few. I think I have 6 I can talk about right now. And then we're in the middle of another one. I'm in the middle of one with my husband that I'll talk about too, but we're not done yet. We're not going to be done like anytime super soon, but we're working on it. So, and it's because my husband has a crazy schedule right now. So we're trying to work episodes in when we can, but, okay. But I do have 7 that I can talk about. So here is what I have finished. All of these are either completely finished shows or just there's no more seasons as of right now type thing. Okay, we'll start with what I watched on Netflix because, yeah, if you have Netflix, you can watch that. So the first one that I watched on Netflix was The Tiger King. You guys, I'm obsessed. I watched that entire series in one day. There's only 7 episodes, so I'll give you that. But I watched all of them in one day. All of them. Actually, there's an 8th episode, but it's like a follow-up interview type thing with Joe McHale. And I watched that too. I was so obsessed with it. Oh my gosh, what a hot mess. It was fantastic. It was really interesting because I was sitting there watching it going, is this real? And my husband is from Tampa. So that's interesting. I was like, do you know about this lady? And he's like, no, I don't know. Like he's never like heard of her or whatever. He did not watch it with me, but I've been telling him about it and he's just like, oh my gosh. So yeah, I can finally understand all the memes going around. I've been posting my own. Oh my gosh, just hot mess express. It was fantastic. It was so entertaining. It was entertaining, but it was also very sad how entertaining it was because this is somebody's real life. Like, oh my gosh, so many things. Yeah, I don't know. The biggest thing that broke my heart was Travis. Oh my gosh, that broke my heart. Talk about a lost boy. Yeah. And 100%, I believe that Joe Exotic hired someone to kill Carol Baskin. 100%, 1000%, I believe she killed her husband. There is no way that she didn't with her behavior during everything and the way she's treating his family after the fact. There's no way that she didn't do it. Just the lack of compassion was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So many things. And I need a documentary about Doc Antle and his little cult that he had going on. Actually, I think that's been rated since, so it's not I don't think it's there anymore, or they're dismantling it or something. But oh my gosh, that guy. Yeah. And I think they showed some interviews with him after the fact as well. And he was like, everyone thinks I have a harem. Yeah, you do. You have multiple partners. You do. That's what that's called. It's a cult. I need more of that. Although I do think it was pretty awesome that he was just like walking down the street on an elephant. Like it's no big deal. Like he's walking his dog. He's on an elephant. I kind of want that. But yeah, I watched that in one day. Fascinating. So fascinating. Yeah. And sad at the same time, because let's be real, like the real victims in that show are the animals. 100%. They were not being treated humanely by anybody. And I don't care what Carol Baskin says about her little sanctuary for animals. All she did was talk about how, Joe Exotic makes money off of flaunting his animals. She does the same thing. Because the next clip, she was like criticizing him for that. The next clip was showing the long line of people that were paying to get into her sanctuary to see her animals. The same thing. Yeah, loved it. Okay, next one that I watched was Lucifer. All these seasons are on Netflix now. It was on a network show. I think it might have been on Fox or something. And I watched it when it was on, and then it got canceled. And I was so upset because I love Lucifer. I love that show. Definitely a guilty pleasure for me. But then Netflix picked it up and said, we're going to keep going. And I was like, yes. So I watched season 4, which was 10 episodes on Netflix, and loved it. It was great. There is going to be a season 5, and then that's going to be the last season. They've already announced it, but that hasn't aired yet. So that's one that I'm just kind of caught up to. I don't have, I can't like finish it or whatever yet until the next season comes out. But once it does, I'm going to watch it right away and have that one watched. But I love Lucifer. It's so funny. He is fantastic. You're literally watching the devil want to be good, and he struggles with that. And the season was really good. Like Eve comes in, and she's a character in here, and that was very interesting. So yeah, it was good. I really like that show a lot. And one more Netflix show that I have watched and kind of completed, and this is another one that it's an ongoing show, but I just finished like the most recent season, and it came out recently, and that is Nailed It. Me and my girls love that show. We watch it together. It's so funny. It's a reality baking show, and there are people who are just everyday people. They're not professionals by any means. They're actually not all that great. But they love baking, and they want to do this. It's more of a hobby than anything. And they come on the show, and they get presented with challenges, and they're supposed to recreate professionally made baked goods. They always have 2 challenges. The first one is kind of like a smaller one, but then the second one is always a big elaborate cake. And it's so funny because they have no idea what they're doing. It's so great. It's hilarious. So me and the girls watched that. We loved it. And yeah, we watched season 4 pretty quickly. Okay, so that is what I watched on Netflix. So now on my DVR, which is, my recording device that I use with our Dish network. Okay, the first one that I wanted to make sure I did was I finished Prison Break. I know, this is super old. Now, Prison Break is a show that my husband and I loved, and we watched it when it was first on. I mean, we were stationed in California. That was our first base. So we're talking like before Caleb was born is when we watched that show. That's when it was on. And it had an ending. It stopped. So they weren't making any more. And it tied up. It was good. We're like, okay, cool. That was a great show. And then a few years later, it came back. And it was only like a 9-episode special type thing. So it was like they had more story to tell, and they told more of it, and then that was it. So it was just kind of like a special, almost like a mini series type thing coming back. And so I watched that, and it was 9 episodes, and it was good. I really liked it. My husband and I watched the first 4 episodes, I think. So I had 5 episodes, and then I needed to watch the last 4 because he lost interest. He was like, ugh. So, but I wanted to keep going with Michael Scofield. So I watched the last 4 episodes. They were good. The first episode I watched, kind of like I had to remind myself what was happening, and then finished it out. And I really liked it. It was good. Another one that I finished was Criminal Minds. And this one made me sad because this show ended. And I love this show. I've loved it for so long. Oh, Spencer Reid was my man. He was my baby. And yeah, and now it's over and it's done. But it ended really well. I like the way that they kind of wrapped it all up. And the last season was great. It was 10 episodes long, revisited some of the characters that have been, you know, kind of like hanging over their heads and everything. So those were kind of wrapped up, which was nice. And yeah, that was one of the, you know, crime dramas that I absolutely loved. I don't watch all of them, but that one I loved so much. I really loved the characters and thought they were all great. And yeah, so I finished that one. Another one that I finished up was Scientology and the Aftermath. This is a documentary that is that was hosted by, or created really, by Leah Remini. And this explores the religion of Scientology. I'm using air quotes because it's not a religion. And she was a Scientologist for a very long time. She left the church very publicly and has been a very public critic about it ever since, because she realized what was going on. She realized how they were treating people and what was going on without her realizing it. And she's putting it out there. And I love what she's doing. I think it definitely is something that needs to be, you know, explored and looked into more deeply than it has been by professionals and by, you know, the police and by the FBI. And like, there's so many things. And she interviews people who have left the church. She interviews people who are still in the church. The Church of Scientology actually has put, you know, out statements about her show and she shows all that. She shows everything. She will show documents that are the manuals that they live by. Like, she shows you everything. If she talks about something really significant, she will show you what it is and what the words are. So like, you know, I'm not lying. This is what it says. And she has teamed up with Mike Rinder, he was very high up in the Church of Scientology and worked with very high up people. So he knows what he's talking about too. He is also a critic. So he has seen some things, he's gone through some things, and it's all very interesting. You really see how the church reacts as well. And not the best, you know what I mean? Like, if your church has nothing to hide and is super reputable, you don't have to react in that way. You know what I mean? It's very interesting. I loved it. The last episode was a holy crap episode. They basically call out a celebrity who is a Scientologist who has accusations of rape against him by multiple women. That was the last episode. Like, oh my gosh, I was almost in tears. Crazy. So, loved that show. It is a done show. There's only three seasons, but, yeah, so loved it. I had to watch season 2 and 3 to be done with it, but yeah, it was good. This one that I watched on our DVR is a show that I watched with my husband, actually, and it's a show that's finished. It's been canceled, so it's not coming back, but that is Into the Badlands. This is a show that was on AMC, and this one was so interesting. It's hard to describe what it is. It's a lot of, it's almost like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon type action, like fighting and, you know, those types of things. And they're almost floating in the air and they can do all these crazy aerobatics and stuff. And you're really seeing this area of the world called the Badlands. And it's all of these leaders in different sections of the area wanting all the power. And they're basically fighting it out the whole time. So it was gory. It was awesome. We really liked it a lot. And we finished it up because we hadn't finished it yet. So we were able to finish it. And again, the show's canceled now, so it's not coming back, but there's 3 seasons of that. But we really liked it. Okay. And there's a show that we are currently watching, my husband and I, and again, you know, we're doing it in his time off, which isn't a whole lot right now. So we're just kind of like fitting in a few episodes here and there, but we're trying to finish up Elementary, which is also a finished show. It has come to a conclusion. It's done. A few more episodes in season 6, and then the rest of all of season 7 to watch. So we have a lot to go, but we do like it a lot. I love Sherlock and Watson, and I love the way that they're portrayed in this show. It's really fantastic. So we're really enjoying it. We're trying to finish it, and we haven't been able to do that yet, but we're working on it. So that's kind of our current binge that's happening. On my own, I'm trying to finish up Life in Pieces, which is a really funny family comedy. Not for the family, like about families. Do not let your children watch the show. It's basically each episode is broken up into 4 different chunks. So there's 4 different stories happening at once within this one family. And so you're getting like 4 different stories in each episode, and each segment is one like little storyline. It's really funny. But oh my gosh, it's hilarious. I find myself laughing so much in this show. And this is another show that's been canceled, so it does have an ending. I think I'm in season 3 right now, and I believe there's a season 4, which is a little bit shorter than all the rest of the season. So I need to get my hands on that because I don't have it recorded for some reason. I'm not sure what happened with that, but yeah, I'm going to have to try to find that somewhere. But I'm working on that one. And that one actually goes kind of quick because it's only a half-hour episode. So I can kind of get through it pretty quickly, but that's what I'm kind of currently trying to finish up as well. Okay, guys, those are the shows that I have binged recently and finished, and a couple that I'm currently working on. I'm sure I'll get through some more here too, because we're still staying home as much as we can. But yeah, let me know what you guys have been watching. Have you been binge watching anything? Are you watching any movies? All that good stuff. We watched a few movies too, but it's mostly I'm trying to get through some shows. So let me know what you guys have been watching. If you have any suggestions based on some of these as well, that would be great. And I will see you guys again soon. Hope you have a great day.